What is your favorite quote and why?
Okay. We're going to read my favorite quote. It says, "Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful." And this is by Albert Schweitzer. And they showed me maps of performance skills of how to read, how to be more aware of where you're at. Becoming aware of oneself is even better than trying to look for happiness, you know?
I want to say that I really agree with that. And the thing is, I work with women that are sometimes think that there's a magic pill that you got to run and you got to get it, like a book on life. And, you know, they missed the chapter where it said about them. And I think that that awareness can come in so many different areas. And we all have our ways to get that awareness. And thank goodness that you have a definite way of doing it. And a lot of the women that I deal with also, when they realize that there's a world beyond them, that they really can have what is in their heart, then the heart then they can let it out more as a process and with work. And it does take commitment as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And, I don't think it just suddenly magically appears just because in 2 lessons or whatever. And even if you take a course or even if you, whatever it is, we just are, as far as I'm concerned, I think people like us are great. I think we put the outlines because you got to keep on doing it.
Commitment can be a lot of fun when we make it a game, you know? And I've been with this method and coaching on this method for 10 years already. That's commitment right there.
That is definitely commitment. You have been in this business 10 years is really a feather in your cap, and I really honor that a lot.
Thank you.
I'm sure that there were some curves in the road, shall I say, obstacles. How did you face them? What did you do to get over them?
Well, for example, when one leaves your nice corporate income, and you go into your entrepreneurship journey, it's not the same income at the beginning at all. And I had to ask for help. And part of my coaching from my mentors, my coaches towards me, they showed me how to ask for help, how to observe just facts and not add stories so that I don't go into self-pity. And I asked for help. At the beginning, I lived with my mom for about 1.5 years. My mom and my stepdad. That was totally out of the ordinary because that was not planned at all. To go back to live at mom's house, who does that, right? But as entrepreneurs, we do whatever it takes. And then that 1.5 years was there. And yes, I paid some rent there, of course, also. And then they moved to up north from Houston. So I didn't want to go so far away. And then I rented a room in a mansion in the River Oaks area here in Houston.
Really?
My income, my coach income wasn't enough to pay to rent an apartment or to buy a house yet. But I said, okay, I got to do this. How have other coaches done it? They've rented some rooms. I'm like, I'm going to rent a room. And I had a great experience with a great landlord and his son. And there were other roommates there too. And it's something that I would have never done because growing up, I grew up being taught that you graduate, you go to college, you graduate, you get your job, and you take it from there and you go at it and you can do it by yourself. But then being an entrepreneur is so different. So you get into a big journey, a big adventure when when you need to, whenever you need to. So that was one of the curveballs when my mom moved and I had to find a place nearby where all the action is. I said, I'm gonna find something, and I in 3 months it came about. I said to myself, there must be somebody out there that has a big house, that has an extra room, and that I can rent. And that's what I did. I had to do that in order to move on. And now 10 years later, I see hindsight. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I do all that? But I did it.
And what I'm hearing is that you are really willing to look at what is, not what you choose to have. My hunch is that that wasn't exactly your first choice, to live with mom and then have a room somewhere. And yet you had a focus. And I think that's something that I'm really hearing that is so, so wonderful, because when we look at life the way it is, whether we like it or not, it's acceptance. Then I think the light switch can come on.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Acceptance of some facts, and to not punish myself that, I couldn't pay rent or an apartment by myself. No, I said, okay, what can I do? Okay, let's go there. Let's follow our curiosity. And you just start to observe, and you put to the side any opinion that anybody can have. But there is a method to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing also is that it's not that the fear is not there. The fear can be there. And one of the things I learned is that it's nobody's business. It's none of my business what anybody thinks of me. And sometimes I had to really say that to myself, to find what are my answers, because some of the women I deal with, they have been kind of shrouded with other, putting a lot of women, putting themselves last. You have the children and whatever. And even if you have your own career, which is great, I know a lot of, obviously, however, there's still that feeling of I go last. And I think that there's a new uncomfortable feeling, I know I experienced it, of saying, well, now I can be first. And it's a very comfortable feeling at first. It's almost like cheating on a spouse, this feeling of, am I cheating? Am I doing?
And definitely everybody has permission to see their curiosity. What do they light up on doing? Definitely. Yeah.
If you ever were to think about collaborating with a person, an entity, what would the characteristics be of this person, place, or thing?
Yeah, definitely. They have to somehow be trained into how to have a team spirit up, because many people come into a team, but then they bring their dramas, their pressures from home, and they're not trained on how to not put it on the team. And instead of talking in me, they become invisible, and they put the attention on the others. So everybody's paying attention on the others and on the game, or on where the ball is. And that's more effective and more productive for every single family or for every single team out there. Yeah.
Yes. And that's such a beautiful thing. It reminds me of the prayer of asking my higher power to be of service to others, and how may I be of service to others today rather than focusing on myself. And that's
there are two things that I didn't know that I was doing. And then when I stopped doing them, a lot of doors opened. And there are things that you would never believe that, but that's the right thing to do. I've always done it. But then once you realize it bogs the energy down, then you start seeing it. For example, one of them is caring. When you start caring too much for people or for somebody else's problem, we were taught for many years to care, to, Oh my gosh. But caring, if you look it up in the dictionary, is called burdensome worry. And that's a lot of weight. So there's another tool called appreciation instead of going into caring, where you bring a team spirit. You invite everybody into team spirit instead of caring. So you all have permission to not care anymore. Starting today.
That is a great point. And thank you for being with us. You are really a light to communication, and an important one.